what's up guys? This is Brian at Whisper Status 74. Welcome to the community, welcome to the channel. If this is the first time you are seeing me, please consider liking and subscribing. We are Real Tech for Real People. Today's video is an exciting one. It is an unboxing, a setup, and overview of the TCL 6 Series R635 Mini LED, which we have here. This is the 55-inch version. I purchased this a few weeks ago. Right after it was released, it was kind of sold out everywhere, and it was available briefly on Amazon, sold out again, and then available again. It was supposed to be delivered today. It was delivered 3 days ago, and that's going to be kind of part of the conversation, as well as the box is actually very, very beat up, which I will show you. But I want to talk to you quickly about the TCL and my expectations for it. TCL, Vizio, Hisense, I always kind of put those three companies together as good and bad. They are value, they are very affordable, but what I like about the three brands is they do have very high-end specs for very low-end price. A lot of them have HDR10, they have Dolby Vision, they have a lot of zones, high peak brightness. They have a lot of features that some of the same priced Sony, Samsung, and LGs do not have, so I do recommend them. However, the challenge is with them, this is all three of them by the way, is sometimes their build quality and their returns. There's a lot of issues with reliability and durability, and that is an issue even though they are affordable. I do recommend, if you do purchase TCL, especially Vizio, try and get a warranty with it so you're covered, as I have had a lot of Vizios fail. You've seen them on the channel. TCLs and Hisense, I do hear a lot about them in our own comments in terms of having dirty screen effect and some of those issues. But what are my expectations? Well, it's a mini LED. It does have some HDMI 2.1 functionality as far as variable refresh rate. It does have a THX game mode. I do like the THX presets on receivers, though I know they tend to be a little bit of a novelty. They don't mean quite as much as they used to. I'm interested to see what the THX game mode is on this. Why I like covering these brands is that I do feel that it's such a great bang for the buck. And that is so important that we all can enjoy those high-end features like variable refresh rate and full array local dimming. And this channel is never going to be an elite channel that only covers really high-end displays. I actually champion Vizio, TCL, and Hisense. I do hope the best for them. I do feel that the more these companies are successful, the more that OLEDs and the Sonys and Samsungs and LGs will be more competitive with their feature set and not have what's happening with many of them now. Mini LED does excite me, much like the upcoming micro LED, which should be here in the next few years, is I do feel that LED and OLED have kind of hit a wall. I do feel that they are not really improving all that much, or they're as good as they're going to get. And I am excited to see new technologies from TCL and Hisense and Vizio. So that is the beginning of the video. What I have to do is show you that this box is pretty beat up. I'm going to have to move the camera around for that. But unboxings to me are extremely boring, but I do want to give you a little bit of what my expectations are with Mini LED really quickly. Mini LED is kind of marketed as having the LED brightness of LEDs, having many more zones, doing that it's Mini LED, you're also supposed to have less blooming. I have not always found that to be the case with the TCL 8 series, at least before it was updated last year. There was a ton of black crush. It was an impressive first shot. I heard it was updated and made better, but I really feel like if you're going to have this technology, it should yield better results in terms of blooming. So we'll see what it does. What I do want to show you though is the box, because having my experiences with the panel lottery, the condition of this box is something that should be alarming for you. Is it alarming for me? Of course it is. But being somebody who reviews these things, I have no problem sending them back if they're damaged. I have displays everywhere, but I do look to keep the TCL to compare to the other displays. And if this one is damaged or the picture quality is awful because I feel that the panel is damaged, I will gladly return it and give it another opportunity. I will not give it 3 or 4 opportunities, but I will definitely return it and give it another opportunity to see how it performs. I do feel that if they're damaged, even if they're not cracked, I do feel throwing the box around can mess up that full array local dimming, even if it's mini LED. All right, let's show you the box and we'll do some unboxings real quick. Okay guys, we are off the tripod and behind the camera. Here is the box. Before we go forward, I want to just show you the box itself, how it's packaged. The cardboard itself is very thin, but you can see how damaged the box is. This TV was just released a few weeks ago. There's no reason for it to be this beat up. Now, if you do end up with a box like this, before you open it, make sure you take pictures of the box. That way you can send them directly to Amazon or wherever you get them. But it was delivered also on its side. And you can see that it's pretty beat up. Now we're going to compare it to my X950H box, which I picked up myself, and there's the difference. Now, not just the thickness of the box itself versus this, just there's not a mark on it. Now quickly to show you in comparison to my Sony X950H box, which doesn't have a mark on it. Obviously I picked this one up from Value Electronics. I went down and got it. Though it was shipped to them, there isn't a mark on it. It's more solid. But this is what makes me a little bit nervous for these brands, is I do sometimes feel they are unfairly criticized for their picture quality and issues with local dimming and blooming. But if they're delivered this way and beat up, who knows what the jostling is being done in a truck when they're being picked up. So I want to show you that quick comparison of how beat up these might be. Now, a lot of times when you open these displays, there's no structural damage, but the problem is I do feel that they get dropped and moved around. It does affect the picture quality. If there are issues with the picture quality, and I feel it's too beat up, we'll definitely send it back and get us another one. But hopefully it's okay. I've seen bad boxes before. Let's unbox it. Now, I don't mean to be cavalier with the return process, as I've returned many TVs that are defective. It is the worst. You have the legs here. I do know it's a very wide stand, which does make it a little bit hard for me to do comparisons, but you know, pretty well built stand. Make sure I'm actually in camera. Pretty well built stand here. Looks easy to put on. Have the grooves. I do think the larger sizes do let you switch them in or out. I do think the smaller size, the 55, is just one stance. So I don't know why, because a lot of people that have smaller displays do have them on smaller surfaces and tables. Show you. You have the bag. If they have this open. Like I mentioned, when you get these displays, if it looks damaged, make sure that you take pictures of the box. Amazon is typically very good about it, but it's just better to show that that's how it arrived. You have your extremely basic Roku remote. I'm not a huge fan of these remotes. Remember though, it's value. A lot of this is value. If you want a backlit remote or you want a remote that is much higher end, this is all going to drive the price up. So as long as the picture quality is good, I don't care much about the remote. We'll see how it works with the settings. Moving on, and we should just have a power plug here, some screws for the stands, and your typical power adapter. I do feel that unboxings are extremely boring. Apologize. And that's how it's packaged. So, nice, at least big piece in the front. Looks like it's pretty well packaged. So hopefully that box is just not going to mean anything at the end. See, the panel is very thick. It is full array. It does feel very solid, I'll tell you that. Imagine it's going to be pretty heavy. We'll get it out. We'll get the feet on it. But again, it's, you know, it's packaged seemingly pretty well. You know, there's the power behind it, but you know, let's hope that, you know, the box didn't damage anything. All right, guys, let's get it out. All right, guys, for this next part, I'm actually recording this later in the evening as it was pretty noisy in my room there, and I'm out with my family on vacation, so you might hear some ambient noise. Here we are, just showing you what it looks like with the top off. Pulling the slip cover over, you have protection on these little pads on the left and right. That plastic is only at the top and bottom bezel. Hearing some crickets outside. As banged up as the box is, structurally the display is fine. Have it on my coffee table here, showing you where the adapter goes in for power. And there are the 4 HDMIs. Not fully sure of their capabilities just yet. I do know they have some HDMI 2.1 capabilities, but they're not capable of 4K 120. So I'll have to check in on that. Just showing you the back of the display. Again, it is on this table, soft cover, and showing you where the feet go on. I do believe in the larger sizes, you're able to flip these around. But considering how slight the angle is on the feet, I'm not sure if you were to flip them around, would you gain more than a few inches in either direction, which could make all the difference depending on the size of the table you're putting it on. It's a very simplistic design. There it is on. Just a couple screws. Now, typically this stuff is super boring, but a lot of people want to see this during unboxings. But these are about the easiest stand to put on. The LG C10 stand was a different story. Now just showing you how they screw in, where I'm sure the other models have maybe a different configuration. Like I said, you can flip them around the other way. And showing you too where you would screw in if you want to do a wall mount. Not certain of the Visa wall mount, but here we are starting it, pulling off those 2 pieces of plastic. It does not cover the entire screen, so keep in mind being careful of removing the plastic coating. It doesn't cover the whole screen like it does with other models. But again, the box was badly beat up, but the display seems like it's totally fine. No nicks, nothing. The plastic is all intact. And show you going through the startup. Startup is actually also very boring. It is very similar to your typical Roku startup. Once you set up a Roku account, which really isn't an account at all, you set up your wireless router. What is a little bit annoying here is that you set up all your wireless router stuff, pulling the plastic back off the bottom real quick, And it has the little tiny lit up TCL logo there, which you can turn off, which is even more than I want to see, actually. I like how there's nothing on TVs nowadays. And then you have the Roku brand at the bottom. Display is pretty thick, shiny. You have cable management in the back. Nothing crazy. Just have the hollow legs, so you can run the cables through them. You can run your power cord through it, or you can run your HDMIs through the other side as well. Always felt like TCLs and Vizios look very similar. Again, not the thinnest display. Now, as we updated it, it made me redo the Wi-Fi a few times, which is a pain. Recognizes the remote pretty quickly. They do have the Roku system down pat. Here it is loading all the channels, which is just the apps, you know, Netflix, things like that. Oh, this is still pairing my remote. I'm sorry. Here's going to make me do it again with the wireless one more time. Sorry for the crickets. I'm out in the parking lot doing this, and here it is loading all the channels. What's interesting is YouTube was not on the home screen. I had to search it, so if it does feel like there's not a lot of options, you might be able to find them by searching for them. Gives you your whole activation code and all that to get your display going, just like any other Roku. Connect your devices. Do all that later. And then it sets you through this whole Roku video. I let it run for a second to see if it would give you guys any information, as I haven't had a TCL other than, you know, for a little bit, and didn't show you much. It does show you the remote is multifaceted in terms of using the buttons for everything, but it's not. It's just a tiny basic remote. The volume is on that side. Run through that, get you going to the home screen. And I want to show you a little bit of what the home screen looks like, the apps that are there. I think this does show me searching for YouTube, which isn't right here on the home screen. I had to search it out, found it, loaded it. There it is. Now we're going to run some of my favorite demos that I do like to run on all my panels. This is the HDR channel. I'll put him in the description below. What's great about you guys, if you want to do channels or run these demos, is they tend not to get hit for copyright. A lot of them do, so you can use the ones you see in these videos. Now, I was extremely impressed with how the display looked out of the box. I had the Vizio Quantum XP series at 75 inches last year, and I did not love the way it looked out of the box. I did not like its colors, did not like its image quality. I had to really work at it to make it look great. It did eventually look awesome, but the TCL right out of the box looked really good. As for what settings there are, they're out of the box. So I think power save was still on at this point. That does change the image quite a bit, but I had no complaints with what I saw. Now the reflection handling we're seeing, this is an extremely bright room. There's not only the two windows behind me, there's windows to the left, there's a door to the left, there's windows all over the place. I just needed to do this open box in a brighter room. It's actually handling the reflections pretty well. I know it's hard to say that, but the window behind it is blaringly bright. It's earlier in the day when I film this. I will be turning the display around to show you the demos from the other side, but they do look very good. I did not notice any real blooming around any of these images. The only blooming I ever really saw was when these demos would end and it would say LG or whatever company was doing them. You're seeing a little bit of the options here. You don't see any haloing around the menu. which is impressive considering the camera will usually pick that up, even in a bright room. Now, I mentioned before, if I had taken it out of the box and it wasn't damaged, but the picture quality was all over the place, I would go ahead and probably figure that it had been dropped and the local dimming probably wasn't working. I would have sent that back. There goes my kid flying up the stairs. You'll see her again later. This demo from the HDR channel is awesome. And the colors do look great. Now, being a first video of what I think of it, it just performed very well out of the box. Really, really nice colors. This is a long video. Recording the audio after isn't optimal, so I apologize for that. Kid running up the stairs. We're going away for a day, so the house is a little chaotic. I will end up talking back to the camera at the end of this video to give you my wrap up. But I was very impressed. And you'll see the demo that many of us show on YouTube here coming up. HDR is also recognized. And what was interesting in the settings before, I might have cut it out by accident, was when I went to go pick the HDMI inputs, I was able to turn on or off the Dolby Vision indicator. Some of you want to see that. And I was able to pick variable refresh rate without any games being attached, without a console being attached. So I'll go through that during the settings videos. I imagine that the I was able to choose, I'm sorry, from HDMI 2.0 to 1.4 to 2.0, which in my thoughts are activated HDR, which a lot of companies have, where you enhance the HDMI. I think that's all that was for TCL. Very tricky with a lot of these is just make sure that you check your HDMI. The 950H did it automatically. You had to enable it with the CX. So if you're not seeing HDR, typically you have to enable it in the HDMI. And some of them are individually. Love the teapot demo. Great for dark levels and definitely brings out blooming, which there is none here. The aperture is at its natural. There is no lowering or darkening of it when I do these videos to make blooming look there or make it disappear. So very impressed with it. The design of TCL is average. It's not too bulky. You can see the bezel is wider at the bottom, but it's fine. It's much more minimalist than it's been in the past, where they were just gray with TCL written in big letters. Switch to my other favorite demo. Many of us know this one on YouTube as well. Again, this is the HDR channel. You'll see at the end of this video, I'll be doing global, LG Global, which has three great demos actually, wildlife and black level. There's my daughter in a reflection asking for her iPad. She storms off. And I don't see the black crush, which is interesting because on the C10, this scene here, his clothing, and you'll see when he's doing the glass blowing in about 2 seconds, his clothing typically gets a little bit lost on the OLEDs. And I did not notice that here as much. It looked pretty defined. Again, it's a bright room, but I was pretty impressed with it. Now right here, I'm going to be picking up the display and spinning it the other way. So I am behind it. So you can actually see it without the windows. You can see a little bit of the reflection of the other windows on the other side. This is one of my favorite demos here. The LG demos are awesome. So you're seeing bright scenes, you're seeing dark scenes. I've seen these on the Z9 8K. I've seen them on the best displays ever made, $30,000 displays, and this looks fantastic. There wasn't any noise in the image. Just really, really impressive. What's good about looking at this image too, guys, I never felt like, hey, this is good for the money. I kind of felt like, hey, this is good for whatever. Looks great no matter what the price is. And that's very encouraging for this very first look at this display. Considering it's also half the money of the CX at 55. Running one more LG demo, and then I'll be doing the wrap up while I'm talking to the camera. It's another great demo as well. Again, I'll link these below so you guys can have them. And the last demo you'll see at the end is a black level demo from LG, which I think is awesome. But you get to see, this is where a lot of LEDs struggle. I cannot wait to see how this display performs against the Sony X950H that I still have, as well as the LG CX, or C10 as many of you like to call it, and the new display I'll be getting in the next few days. Here comes the black level demo in a few seconds. No haloing at all. Again, this is full screen. Now at the end of this video, I'm going to talk, then I'm going to cut out and come back because I did watch a little bit of Netflix, which I will talk about at the end of the video. So when I say goodbye, if you're even this far in, I'll come back. This is a great demo for black level. Alright guys, I'm going to let myself wrap up the end of this video. But really, really nice. See me chilling on the couch? There is some reflections, obviously. But it looks great. So far, very, very impressed with my initial setup and demos with it. That black level. Really, really nice. And here I come. Guys, at the end of this video, we're going to wrap up a little bit with my first thoughts after the unboxing and the setup. Obviously, the setup was very easy. The display is not damaged at all, even though the box was pretty beat up. It's packaged pretty decently inside to protect it. It has no plastic on the screen except for the top and the bottom, so there isn't that whole sheet. It is very thick, which is okay for a display as long as it doesn't have, in terms of full array local dimming, it is a mini LED. It needs to be thick, and I understand that, and I'm fine with that. It is very basic. It has a little bit of a bezel-less design on the sides, but on the bottom it does get a little bit larger in terms of the framing, larger than a lot of newer displays. It says TCL at the bottom, which is fine, and it has a little Roku at the bottom, which is fine. It is minimalist like many of the other TVs. It does feel premium in the sense that it is solid. It's not super, super heavy. It's only 55 inches. But I like it. The stand is very basic. It is very wide. So it'll be interesting doing comparisons as it doesn't leave a lot of room where to put it. So far, I like the display a lot. I ran some of my favorite demos from the HDR channel and some from LG Global that are gorgeous. You see them behind me. They performed very well right out of the box. I'm not a huge fan of the remote. I've never been a big Roku remote fan. They're fine for streaming. They're simple. Volume on the side. But as far as like your options menu, you have to go, at this asterisk to get yourself into the options. But it's fine. Nothing crazy. Again, things to keep the prices down. But initially, out of the box, I like it. I haven't done a settings overview. I haven't gone through the settings even in this video. The reflection handling, don't be too hard on it. This room is crazy bright. There's windows behind it. It's just a bigger room where I can maneuver. You can see that my plasma on the wall is an absolute mirror. So my kid's arm is in the back, which you just caught, and her head. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get up the stairs.
Go. I'm gonna leave that in the video actually, just to tell you how difficult it is to film. I'm not even gonna edit that out. But it seems to me it's a good product. I like it so far. Like I said, it performed well in the typical demos. Now, the reason why I think demos are important, why they're not important. They're not important simply because they're full screen. They don't always show the full capabilities of especially an LED, because we want to see those black bars in movies. Why they are important is that your memory, I run the same demos from HDR Channel, LG Global, Jennifer Gala. I run these demos on all these displays, be it the ZH8, the Z9G, the LG CX, C10, all the OLEDs. So I have a good idea of what they look like. And for an LED, I'm very impressed with the black level so far. Again, I haven't seen a movie with black bars yet. I am actually going away for a day later on today, which is why the house is chaos. But so far, I'm very happy with it. It was easy to set up. It's like setting up any other Roku. You know, I mentioned that during the setup, when you set it up, it forgot your Wi-Fi, you had to redo that. Not a big deal. It was pretty cool. No problems with it at all. But I do like the colors from what I've seen so far. Again, these demos are very high end. They are gorgeous. So a lot of things look gorgeous on them. But I am very hopeful. Keep in mind, TCL, it's about value. If I can get you guys value and still get Dolby Vision and still get variable refresh rate and get all those features, that's all I want. I could care less about the highest end. It actually bores me at a certain point when you only have a couple high end. I want everybody throughout to be able to enjoy the best possible content and to enjoy things like variable refresh rate and some of these features, Dolby Vision. That's just all I want for you guys. So I really am always rooting for TCL, Vizio, and Hisense, and we'll see how they perform. Last year, Hisense did very, very well. So did TCL. Vizio did well as well. I didn't see any dirty screen effect yet. You'll see screen uniformity tests on it. You'll also see it go against the LG, the Sony, and the next display, which is coming in the door in the next few weeks. It will be very, very interesting. But I hope you guys are doing really, really well. I know the content has been a lot of comparisons lately due to how busy I've been outside of YouTube. I'm looking to refocus back into content where it's just us, back into some gaming, back into some tech therapy, and just get into covering just about everything. I'd like to, movie reviews, Blu-ray reviews, everything. But I do appreciate you guys very much. I love you guys. I hope you're doing well. TCL 6 Series initial setup unboxing. I like it. It's very basic. It doesn't matter if it's basic as long as that picture quality looks good. I will talk to you guys soon. I'll see you in the comments. Take care. Actually, just kidding. Watching a few minutes of Altered Carbon. It looks good. So watching a little bit of Netflix. Has a small black bar at the bottom. It's black. Black seem pretty good. So panel is okay. I want to just jump in and say that before I go away for a day, and then we'll start running some tests on it. I hope you guys are doing well. Just wanted to pipe in real quick and say that I do like a little bit of the movie performance. It looks pretty good out of the box, and I am enjoying it. All right, guys. Talk to you later.